Welcome back. I wanted to point out, as you probably already realized, that these videos are unscripted and there are going to be mistakes like yesterday when the telephone rang. We were talking about ISIS and the Mideast, and I pointed out to you that two of the factors there are tribalism and Islam. In this particular case, the religion and the tribal factors are pretty much intertwined. To go over it again, because this is so complicated, we'll be doing several videos in the future on this. There are three main factions of Islam: the Sunni and the Shia and the Sufi. Now, when it becomes a political situation as well as a religious situation, the Sunni and the Shia are the dominant sects. The Sufi are the mystic part of Islam, and no one bothers them and they don't bother anyone. There was a third party, which are the Kurds. At one time it was Kurdistan. Now that's been broken up to four sections that mainly exist in Turkey, Syria, Iran, and Iraq. When I also told you that the Shahada, the tenet number one of Islam, that there's only one God, Allah is his name, and his last messenger, his first messenger, his last prophet, was Muhammad. There are sects broken apart out of this. Muhammad died in 632. And at various times in the last 1,500 years, they have, men have come along as imams and as caliphates, and have declared themselves sort of like a prophet, but they couldn't say that because that would be against the religion. So there have been sects that have broken off of the Sunnis and the Shias. So you have a multitude of situations here that are so confusing. Well, let's go back to ISIS and the Kurds and what's happening today. In 2004, when ISIS was just a band of ragtag terrorists, they joined forces together. They are Sunni. The Kurds are Sunni, and the point was that nobody likes the Kurds even if they are Sunni. So that's a third tribal situation that they don't like. Now, there are three Shia countries: Syria, Iran, and Iraq. Most of the rest of the Mideast are Sunnis. And again, sects of different, of Sunni sects, and the Shias also. When we left Iraq, a Shia president was in charge, and they guaranteed us that they would treat the Sunnis equally and the Kurds. Well, they didn't. So when ISIS was fighting in Syria a few months ago, the majority of the Sunnis there, except for some moderate rebels, joined their forces. They became larger. When they crossed the border into Iraq, the Sunnis that had been mistreated by the Shia government in Iraq joined forces with ISIS. Now ISIS, on its way in, went after the Kurds. They killed Kurds wherever they could. They killed Shia wherever they could. And they killed Christians, which is another video altogether. Now, the ISIS has a man who declared himself the new Caliphate, the new Caliph. His name is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. That's his new name. His old name is like 8 words long, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. A Caliph is a political leader who is also the religious leader. There have been several of them since Muhammad died in 632. The last main caliph was the Ottoman Empire, which collapsed in 1926, and that was the last caliph. In modern days, they've had presidents and totalitarian dictators and all that type of thing. Now, as ISIS comes down through Iraq, there's a possibility that Saudi Arabia might get involved in it. Now, here's the reason why. Saudi Arabia is mostly Sunni. Now, why would they go after ISIS, which is Sunni? Well, the ruling family in in Saudi Arabia, is the Fahd family. And the Saud family, that's why it's called Saudi Arabia. And they are Wahhabis, which is a large sect of the Sunnis. And they're afraid that if ISIS comes into Saudi Arabia, which they will, that the Sunnis in Saudi Arabia, 93% of the population is not Wahhabi. So if they come into Saudi Arabia, a large part of the Arabian population would probably join ISIS. They don't want that to happen. So see how complex this is? I'm not even talking about the Emirates and the rest of the area. Or Northern Africa, Egypt and all that. That's a totally different situation. So what I'm going to talk about at this particular point is our involvement in the Mideast. Now, ISIS beheaded 2 of our people and 1 Brit. I believe in vengeance. I believe it's a healthy thing, and it has closure for people. So we ought to go in and bomb the hell out of ISIS. France started it. Brit might do it. I happen to agree with the administration on this. There should be no boots on the ground. Carpet bomb these people back past the Stone Age. Now, at that point, we should get out. You understand that the Mideast has blown up several times since 632 when Islam was formed. Just like in Christianity there were times that the Protestants and the Catholics had problems, it's even harder here because, for instance, the Salat, as-Salat, is the prayer 5 times a day. Well, there's a group of them believes it should be 3 times a day. Some of them have modernized. The point being is, it's never, ever going to be settled. We should, as I said, carpet bomb ISIS and vengeance. Get out. The only thing we should do in the Mideast is have Navy ships off the coast of Israel to protect them. They probably won't need any protection because they can fight. But we need to be there just in case, because they're one of our best allies in the whole world. Now, my prediction is that, it started a couple years ago, for the next 10 to 15 years, the Mideast is going to fight amongst themselves. People are going to die. I don't want our people in there dying with them. We have absolutely no business being there. We don't need their oil. The only country needs the oil out of the Mideast is Japan. And they can have it. Now, what does this bode for the future? At some point, because this happens all the time too, at some point the warring tribes in the Mideast, some man will ride out of the sunset and unite them all. Now, backtrack a little bit. The reason Europe is not going to get involved very much, I'm surprised France did, is because they've allowed unbridled Muslim immigration into Europe for the last 30 years. Some places the population is as high as 40%. Several years ago, they even had riots in the summertime between Muslim communities and the rest of France. What we need to do, besides pulling our people out, is close our borders to the south, because as I'm speaking right now, there are probably 10 of them coming into the country. ISIS will send people here. Maybe if we pull out, they won't do it as much, but right now they will. And they could come in through Canada. They could simply get a boat and come on the shore somehow. If you got your mind set up to do something, they will. And they won't come in and blow up the Sears Tower or something like that. What they will do is come in and blow themselves up at a mall or shopping center or sporting event. So we have to go for that. In my book I wrote 4 years ago, Fatal Choice, The Last Days of the USA, I brought all of this out. I did go into detail what I think will happen in the future, but I did project all of this 4 years ago, before ISIS even became a subject. And this is why I'm saying we have to pull out. We have to protect our borders. There are other reasons, but we'll go into that in a future video. Right now, you have to understand what's going on over there. We will be making more videos in the future as a topic presents itself, but I suggest very much that you look at the links that I provided today. Anything I've said, Google it. Find out. If you can find more, mention it. If you have questions, and enough people have the same question, I'll make a video about the question. Because we have to learn. We have to be prepared. This is not what's going to change our country, but it's something that we will be involved in the future. Please hit the like button and please subscribe so we can get more people involved in this. That is my goal. Because as I always sign off, be well and be prepared. Thank you.